Happy to be of service here for your Friday, and Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman, I know we've got to keep it short, and thank you very much for doing this at the last minute. As you know, former President Donald Trump has endorsed Jim Jordan for Speaker of the House as one of those that voted to oust Kevin McCarthy. I'm curious as to whether or not you would endorse Jim Jordan for Speaker of the House.
Jim, yesterday I said I'd probably do him more harm than good, so I'll probably stay out of the endorsements. I've never been big on endorsement. I always figure that you don't pick up people's friends, you pick up enemies, and I honestly think it'll have a net gain for Jim, but it'll pull a few off too. So I think, but it'll be a net gain for him.
So I guess
it'll be him and Scalise, and then you could see a third candidate like a Kevin Hearn out of Oklahoma or somebody like him get into it.
So I guess, is it appropriate to ask whether or not you would vote for Jim Jordan, or would you rather just not say?
You can ask, but it doesn't mean I'm going to tell you.
Okay, would you vote for Jim Jordan?
I'm not telling you. I don't know. Actually, I want to listen to everybody. I would like to hear what everybody has to say, what their vision is for our. I mean, if we're going to keep going down the same path of this spending that we're doing now, which is going to wreck us, I'm going to be looking to find somebody that wants to be fiscally responsible, because that's the bottom line. That's why we're in the shape we're in, and that's why we're having these meetings, because there were 8 of us that said enough is enough.
One of the, I've been playing some audio from Jim Jordan, and one of the things that he said was he made more phone calls yesterday than he's made in his entire life. Has he reached out to you yet?
Oh yeah. We talk regular. We're good friends. We eat over at the Capitol Hill Club some, and yeah, we've been buddies since I got to DC.
So would you say it's a difficult decision between a Steve Scalise and a Jim Jordan? I mean, would you say that they're relatively speaking interchangeable at this point, or what do you think?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that, Jim, of course, is he's the one that takes the fight to him. And he's a tactician, and he's super, super smart. The question is, can you raise the money needed to keep the Republicans in the majority and start getting some candidates? That'll be the real question.
You're right. You know, Paul Ryan, way back when, Paul Ryan said that one of the things that he hated about the job was all of the fundraising and a lot of the travel. And so there's a lot to, being speaker, from, having to get all the votes and get everybody on the same page, keep everybody in line, which is also, some would say part of the speaker's job. And yes, also a lot of traveling and raising money. So, you tell me, Congressman Tim Burchett joining us just very quickly, what is the mood of the Republican Party? I mean, in the House, you've got CNN, a lot of these other places saying there's all kinds of chaos and so on and so forth.
No, I would remind your listeners that the rules were followed. We followed the rules that were in place, the rules of Congress, and that's how Kevin McCarthy was taken out of office, or out of his position. He's still in office. So the rules were followed. That's ridiculous saying it's chaos and all this. That's just the liberal left media trying to stir things up. Today they're saying, if the House doesn't get its ship in order, it's going to cause financial hurting of America. All this garbage, as if spending $7 trillion, over $7 trillion a year, when you take in $5 trillion, isn't bad enough. I think we're going off of a cliff. We're going to be paying close to $1 trillion in interest every year with this $33 trillion in debt that we've ran. So, they're wanting status quo. Yeah. They're just wanting to keep it the same way, keep running, just because they're in power. And that's what that's all about.
Well, from your standpoint, Congressman, you can speak about yourself, or maybe just kind of the feel of the House and the Republicans. How big of a deal is it that Donald Trump last night endorsed Jim Jordan?
I think it's a very big deal. I think it shows that the where the base is, and yeah, I think it's a huge deal. I don't think he wanted it leaked out on Twitter. I think he wanted to handle it himself, from what I understand. But my buddy Troy Nels put it out, so it's out. You're not going to be able to change it. But he, Trump he's a force. There's no question. There's no question. I don't think he ever thought he ever wanted to be speaker. I think that's just, talk.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, Trump, I love him. He's been known to bluster, and that's kind of what he did. Let me ask you, I covered yesterday this interview that you had with Brian Kilmeade over on Fox News. I want to play a little piece of audio for you.
They all supported Kevin McCarthy, including the most conservative guy I know, Jim Jordan. Why are you smarter than Jim Jordan and the 210 plus Republicans? Why are you smarter?
I got to tell you, I think that interview, it got a lot of play in the media, but I think for the wrong reason. I think that personally, I believe that Brian Kilmeade, it came off really as, I'm going to be nice. He came off as a pompous ass. That wasn't really nice, was it? But anyway, I believe that Kilmeade came off really bad. And it was like he was demonizing you for voting your conscience. What was your thought on that interview? I know you fought back against him, but it's been a day or two now. Looking back on that, give me your perspective on that.
I think he hurt himself, and I think it made my numbers swell because I didn't lose my cool. He had a predetermined answer, and he should have just not had me on and just interviewed himself because that's all he wanted. He didn't want to hear. He didn't want to hear what I said. He was, he's one of those smart aleck Northerners going to tell this little old Southern boy what it was, and I wasn't having any of it. I held my own, but I didn't lose my cool, and I think that's what he wanted. He wanted me to lose my cool, and then he just got worse and worse in the interview, and then it just I think it hurt him though overall. If you go on the internet and read the comments and stuff, I think he pulled back a nub. I didn't even know who he was, honestly. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch any of that garbage on either. I don't watch CNN even. And honestly, when I was doing the interview, I was in the Cannon Rotunda, and I couldn't see the screen. And I actually thought he was somebody else. I don't know who Brian Kilmeade is or whatever, and I don't care. He doesn't live in the 2nd Congressional District, and he probably couldn't find Tennessee on a map. So, I think you're right. I think that he did hurt himself. I think that even if somebody disagreed or was neutral on your position to vote out Kevin McCarthy, I think that just his attitude and the way that he was so demeaning towards you, and I do believe that it sounded like he was, like Kevin McCarthy, sort of mocking when you say that you prayed on the decision and so forth. It just seemed to me like he was belittling you. And I will tell you that I was not kind to Brian Kilmeade when I covered this story for you yesterday. I promised the people that handle your schedule that I would have you out by 8:15 my time. So I appreciate you joining us here on Nashville's Morning News. Hey, thank you. And just keep putting the truth out there, brother. We'll get it. And our country is going to be in good shape. But ask your listeners to pray for our country because we do need God's hand upon us.